episode 2, we're going to talk about creators and co-creators. We are creators and co-creators after all. I want to share with you a little bit about an experience that I had where I started to recognize just how the energy inside of us, how it actually works when we are present. Let's see. So, very interesting. I had an experience where, a lot of experiences, I'll say, where I was battling courage. Courage is something that a lot of us battle because we like to be in our positive mode and we feel like anything outside of the positive mode is negative. In actuality, the cosmic law of polarity is that hot exists because of cold, the opposites, dark and night. So in essence, when we look at negativity, we have a limited perspective of what actually the energy point of it is and what it's trying to create, right? So we are both negative and positive and negative. We like to try to make sure that we align with positive actions each day, but sometimes negative comes in there. Like I said, sometimes we have a limited perspective on what negative is because we've never engaged in a higher conscious thought of what that actually is, what's happening, what that is. So the example I want to share with you today is where, like I said, I was battling courage. And once I started taking courage on and moving through very uncomfortable situations, more of it came. Because what you suppress and try to avoid, once you start moving and processing through it, more of it comes, because we're in this earth planetary, we're on earth learning lessons, okay? And excuse me, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here because I'm driving too, but my hands are on the wheel, okay? So just to let you know, with the courage issue, what transpired was I noticed more issues would pop up if it was not addressed and is internal. Your courage issues will stem from something that's inside you that you need to address. It could be connected to your inner child. At some point you didn't speak up for yourself. You may have been bullied as a child and you didn't speak up for yourself, and it's showing up in your adult life that these courage issues that you have need to be addressed. So you will create this to happen in your life, and then if you are not aware that you're a part of the creation, more of it will happen, and you'll complain about it, and it'll continue and continue and continue, and you'll start thinking like, why does this keep showing up? Eventually you become aware of it. It's coming from a place inside of you that you are not addressing. And so it shows up in your world. Everything inside shows up on the outside. Well, with my courage issues, one example, I had someone, I'm always in authoritative type of roles. I noticed, they get more and more where I have to deal with people in a manner that's not always how I feel I would like to be, which means that it may create conflict. Not that it's not true that I need to have maybe a conversation that's difficult, or that I may have to have like a situation where I have to talk to somebody and it's not gonna, I just said that, like a conversation that's difficult, right? So in this example that I'm gonna share with you, individual, I had to basically check a person, but in a decent way, but I had to check a person, and it didn't go well. When I say check a person, meaning that I had to bring back truth to a situation. That person, they were angry, and they were so angry that when they came to me, their energy was just ignited. Well, when that happens, not only is their energy ignited, really your energy is already getting ready to go there, because number one, it was uncomfortable because you had to deal with something that could potentially bring up confrontation, so you can address your courage issues. And then number two, the energy behind it. Your heart is pounding. You're trying your breath. You're losing control of your breath. Well, in this example of this happening to me, I did the exact opposite, and I became extremely present, which was difficult because this was someone who was super irate at the point of losing control of themselves. Well, once again, internal energy shows itself externally. Therefore, I embraced the moment. As difficult as it was, I embraced the moment. Once I embraced the moment, I was able to stay hold of my breath. I was breathing through the whole thing. And then I remember, and I can feel it now, I remember that I'm going through a tunnel, so that's why I start. I remember my higher self coming in, that voice within saying, some of you may say, the Most High, God, whatever, you connect with. But I remember the voice saying, Valencia, remain calm and just breathe. So I just was breathing. I made sure when I spoke, I stayed in the degree of where my energy within my breath was. Now, this is very interesting because I was so present in this whole energy of uncomfortability, confrontation, conflict, everything that is not considered positive. I was so present in it. I embraced it. And then all of a sudden, the other person's energy started coming down to my energy. I never wavered in my thought process, and I never wavered in my energy of holding still to my energy so that I could move through and process this, because typically we mentally check out of situations that we don't want to be bothered with or we don't want to be in. We immediately check out. We're not emotionally available for it. But what happens is we recreate it over and over and over again. So with that being said, in this example, I noticed the other party started checking himself. It was a him. He started checking himself, saying, am I being overly aggressive? And it was interesting because I was like, me holding my energy, it's really an inside energy that helps the external part of what you are creating and co-creating. The reason I say this is because we live in times where everyone is light and love, moving into this golden age, and light and love, my brother, light and love, my sister. But no one wants to battle their courage issues. It's easier to hide, and it's harder to show up. I have a lot of different things that I've been into. You know, I always like to say I'm unorthodox and very untraditional, because I can connect to any and everywhere I go. Part of it is because I've been able to move through my courage issues. And now that I am, they keep coming. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because a lot of people have courage issues. They don't want to address them. They don't realize that they're creating them. And it just continues over and over. And it actually sometimes slows you down, because it's a lesson that's it's a lesson for you to graduate from. Because we're all graduating from these different lessons. There was a lady, her name was Dolores Cannon. And then there's another brother, lecturer, and his name was Bobby Hemmett. And many of these different people have spoke about energy and how we are spiritual beings having this physical experience, and how we are truly energy inside. We just look at the energy on the outside and forgotten who we are, forgotten that this comes from a place of inside. With that being said, we perform instead of showing up. I used to live in Los Angeles years ago, and I've been in many different places, like I said, different experiences. There was a spiritual mother. Her name was Mata G, and she had the Eagle Wings of Enlightenment Center. I'll never forget. And there was my first experience of being in a native sweat lodge. It was there in Inglewood, and I'll never forget. I was like, they have a native sweat lodge every month in Inglewood, but this place was golden, and it was right in the neighborhood in Inglewood. A lot of people who are from Los Angeles, they may know of the Eagle Wings of Enlightenment Center with Mata G. But anyways, she said something one time. She said, you know, y'all looking for and she said, y'all, yes. She said, y'all looking for the stars. We looking for the saints. And it just went straight to my heart. And I said, wow, how courageous is that? Because she was right. We was looking for Hollywood stars. Even deep down, a lot of people didn't want to recognize that, but that's what they kept creating and co-creating. Something that was pretend, but no courage to just be authentic. So that's why I'm coming to you today, because we need more authenticity. We need you to have courage and show up. The hard conversations that we need to have, we still need to have them. We need to have grace when we have these conversations with ourselves and others, because we are taking the Band-Aid off right now. That's what we're doing. And in order to take the Band-Aid off, grace is necessary at times. I hope your day is progressive. I hope you lead with purpose and intention, always. And I hope that this helps you to have a little bit more courage and become a creator and co-creator after all, because that's what we truly are. We just need to connect back to that. We need to be present in those moments of difficulty. We need to be present in those moments with love. All right, peace, y'all.